One of the needs that we saw in our county was there was a discrepancy between families we were trying to help and how they felt about that help that they received. One of the things that the Angel Tree program did well for many years was provide Christmas for families that didn't have the means to provide that for themselves. However, Affordable Christmas for us brought another layer of excellency to that. We were able to, through partnerships in our county, both with civic and community organizations, provide abilities for parents to actually afford Christmas for their children. What this gave them the ability to do was not necessarily to receive a handout, but rather a partnership with their community to provide gifts for their kids. The pride that this instilled in those families was simply amazing. It allowed them to feel good about coming and taking part. Many of them got to buy Christmas presents for the first time for their children and their families. And this is a huge thing for the pride that they have as parents. One of the other things that we wanted to see and got the opportunity to see was that we had the ability to partner with families, with parents, and it was something that was not only good for them, but was good for our community as well. We had a ton of people, organizations, and different groups that came together to make this a reality. And not only for the community organizations and the families, but the help that it provided the school system and the FRYC group to build relationships that are going to provide lasting impact on our community.
We were here at 7. We ate lunch, we waited dinner, we left here. In FRYC, our main goal and objective is to bring parent involvement and not even just that, community involvement. With Affordable Christmas, we were able to do all of that in one program. Unlike with Angel program where the parents were just able to pick up the gifts, the parents actually got to be a part of their children's Christmas. And we saw on their faces the positivity. We were amazed at the response from our community and our parents that day. We had no idea what to expect going in, it being new, but we were amazed at how everyone come together to work for this. The parents were just so emotional, good emotions. They were very excited to be able to purchase gifts for their children and wrap the gifts. A lot of them had never even experienced that before. We had one that had an 18-year-old child and several others below that, and she said that this was the first time that she had ever purchased gifts for her children. And that was the big positive, is that the parents were able to pay for the gifts themselves. They were able to have that pride of knowing that they bought those gifts. We had a parent to send a picture of their tree with all their gifts wrapped underneath the tree, and it was the first time they'd ever had a tree or gifts under a tree. It just instilled pride that a lot of our parents may have never experienced before. Our community came together so strong. We have a small community, small county, and we had so many wonderful volunteers who came in not knowing what to expect, just as we did not know what to expect, all came out that day with a positive reaction to what we experienced.
So one of the things we were really concerned about with the Affordable Christmas Program, with it being our first year doing it, we didn't know exactly how the flow of traffic was going to go through the school, if people were going to have difficulties going from one section to another. But fortunately that was amazing. It blew our mind with how well everything went, and a lot of that was in part to some of our great community partners. They came up with some great ideas to help us with that. Part of it was also the building that we used. We used my school, the 5-6 Center in Edmonson County. We started off when parents came in, they had an initial sign-in table. There were arrows on the ground that led them back to the gymnasium station. That's where the parents would shop, and then there were helpers that directed the children where they were to go for childcare, so that they never got into that portion of the event. But when the parents went down, they went down the stairs, they would shop, they started on one end, they would check out on the opposite end of the gym. There were helpers at every station that we would have, directing people, but, fortunately with the way things were laid out, that wasn't as necessary as we were thinking it would be. So everything flowed extremely well. As soon as they checked out, they were directed up to our band room, which is where we had all of the clothes for the students collected in bags. It was already labeled by school, by child name. They just came up. Once they got their card that had the number of kids that they had shopped for, their names, things of that nature, we were able to get their bags. Then they came and saw me in the gift wrap station, and we were set up in the cafeteria. There were partitions that divided the gift wrapping station and the refreshment areas in our cafeteria. And it was only accessible from one side, from the side the parents came from wrapping, or from choosing their gifts for their child. Once they got that all done, we wrapped the gifts, got them all ready, took those back out to the car, and the parents were then able to leave out the other side of the cafeteria, go collect their kids, come back into that partition divided area and enjoy refreshments with Santa Claus. And there was live music that was playing, and it was just an overall really smooth transition from area to area, and it was just a wonderful event. We all were very, very excited with how it all went.
We served over 62 families with our new Affordable Christmas program, which ended up being like 162 kids that we got to serve this year, our first year. We had over $20,000 worth of inventory, and we had just started on this in September of 2019, like the end of September. So we didn't know what to expect, but we were just floored by our community and how they came together and supported this brand new program that they'd never heard of before. We also have inventory already ready to go for next year, which is tremendous help for us. We also had 30 volunteers. We anticipated 30 volunteers. We had over 60. We had double, if not more than that, that we could even keep track of, to help us with gift wrapping and shopping and helping the families and our homemakers. It was amazing. It was more than we could imagine for our first year.